Looking to find harmony and work-life balance? Join Coach AnnaJo as she shares practical strategies, empowering mindsets, and inspiring stories to live the life you want to lead on AnnaJoTalks, Work Life for Badasses. Now, here's your host, Coach AnnaJo.
Welcome everyone to another episode of AnnaJoTalks Work Life for Badasses. I'm Coach AnnaJo and I'm here to challenge the myth of balance and find real harmony in modern life. Today's episode, I have a special guest. One amazing woman, an entrepreneur, a speaker, a connector, a mom of three, and more recently, a grandmother of a beautiful baby boy. A storyteller and a true badass with amazing stories to share with you. Tara Gilvar. Hello, Tara. How are you?
Hello, AnnaJo. I'm so happy to be here and talking to you and talking to all your women. This is such an honor. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you here, really, in this podcast, which is about badasses. And honestly, you are a true badass. But to all our listeners here at AnnaJoTalks Work Life for Badasses, I'm going to read your bio so they really know who you are. Okay? So I'm going to read. Tara Gilvar, the Big Believe Inspire Grow founder and CEO. Tara Gilvar, a Boston College graduate, brings over 25 years of experience in branding and strategic marketing. She has developed campaigns for notable companies like Sylvania Lighting, Timberland, and Eddie Bauer, and was worked as a consultant for clients such as Harvard Medical School and Prudential Securities. 15 years ago, Tara left the corporate world to focus on raising her three children, while continuing to support startups and nonprofits as a marketing consultant. Recognizing the need for a support system for women balancing family and professional ambitions, Tara founded BIG, Believe, Inspire, Grow, an empowerment organization for women entrepreneurs. Since its inception, BIG has inspired over 13,000 women with its community, tools, and resources. An accomplished speaker, Tara has addressed audiences nationwide, including the Boston College Council for Women, the New Jersey Conference for Women, and Middlesex Chamber of Commerce. Her passion lies in empowering women to achieve personal and professional fulfillment. What an honor to have you here. Really, Tara, welcome
Thank
here.
you,
AnnaJoTalks
Anna.
Work Life for Badasses.
I love
Tara.
that. I mean, that's a word that I don't know if I would take on, but I want to be, I just bought my daughter a book called there's a new badass book out there, and someone recommended it. And I thought,
God.
I want my daughters to be badasses too.
Absolutely. Yes. It's the Jen Sincero's one, because she's the lady of the badass. You are a badass. Okay.
Yes. Maybe
Yes. Okay. All right. But so Tara, so we met let's see, over 3 years ago. So when
maybe
I was
even longer. Yeah.
longer, right? 3-4 years ago.
I think with the pandemic, everybody has that year window that we forgot about, but I think it could be more like 5 years.
It was, yes, you're right. And it was when I was in my journey to look after, to connect. And it was with this idea, right, to leave corporate and to become a full-time entrepreneur as a life coach as I am now. And actually, I joined BIG, which since then I am still a proud member of BIG.
And we love having you.
I love being a member.
Beautiful energy, and whenever you're in the room, it lights up a little brighter.
I love BIG. And but listen to you the first time. So you were speaking to this amazing group of women, right? So one of these events that you were hosting, and I was blown away as you like, these ladies are a badass here. Oh my God, it's a powerhouse. But I would love you to share your story and your journey with us here during this podcast.
Sure. Well, I think, I'm honored you say that, but at the time, in 2009, that's when we started it. I didn't mean to start it. I didn't mean to start an organization. I was a stay-at-home mom of 3 relatively young kids, and I lived in a suburban community in New Jersey, and I just wasn't fulfilled in my life. I I'd go to Home Goods, I would go to the gym, but there was something more. I didn't know what entrepreneurship was. I didn't know what business building meant. I didn't know any of that. I was a political science major. I worked political campaigns, and then I went into public relations. So I wasn't equipped
Yeah.
with what you would think a knowledgeable entrepreneur needed to start something. I just followed a journey that led me to this. And I would tell anyone to do that. If you have an
Wow.
instinct, go for it, because you'll learn what you need to learn along the way, and you surround yourself with people like you and
Yes.
that help you through that, and you can figure it out. Like Marie Forleo, it's figure outable, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
for me, at that time, I had lost my mojo, my sense of self. I was just a mom, a stay-at-home mom,
Yes.
which was not what I started or thought my life was going to be. And I just yearned for something. I was seeking something, but I didn't know what the it was. And what I did was I went by the middle school where my son went to school, and there was a bumper sticker on a teacher's car, and it said, "Remember who you wanted to be." I was like, "Oh, I'm not her. I'm not that girl that I was supposed to be." When I went to college, you pick your major, you think, "Oh, maybe I'll be this person,"
Yes.
And I wasn't any of those. I was sitting in the suburbs with 3 kids, and that's a blessing, but not everything that I wanted in my life. So I sent an email because you said I was a connector. I'm a connector. I know, oh, you should know her and she should know you, and you guys should have this in common. And sometimes I see things in connections among people that they don't see in themselves.
Yeah.
So I sent an email out in 2009 that said, "We're still smart. We were not necessarily doing our college degree major any service, but, maybe we could get together and find fulfillment professionally in our lives and still keep our families and our personal commitments sacred, because women will never give up their family for work, or, we always have to have that unified life." So that's what happened. And 42 women showed up in my living room that day from that email.
Oh, I didn't know it was 42 women.
42
Okay.
women. And it basically was the first ever big meeting before there was a big.
At your living room.
In my
Okay.
living room. And we do the same things we do then, today, in different ways. So we went around the room and we said, "Who were you? Who are you now? Who do you want to be, and where are you struggling to get there?" Which is what we do, right? And tears. Because women weren't used to focusing on their lives, because they're so used to focusing on everybody else's life, your children, your spouse, your parents, let me take care of the neighbor next door. Let me do all these other things. But me, well, we'll worry about me later, right? And what we learn is that's not a really great thing for anybody, because women that take care of themselves have more to give to all the other people that they support in their life. So they'd start to say, "Oh, my son Billy is in the 3rd grade at Mrs. Johnson's class, and my husband works in Wall Street." And we would say, "We don't care about them." We
Oh
would
my
say,
God, that was kind of a rule, like of the presentation. Okay.
"We're not here to talk about them. We're here to talk about you." And for some of those women, they got choked up because no one focused on them.
Oh my
No
God.
one was like, "What about you?" Or, "What are your dreams? What are your goals? Or what do you want to do?" And that's how it started. And the success story that I talk about a lot is that there was a woman in the room who was a big executive in the garment district in New York City. You know her, Patricia. And she had gotten recently divorced and had her self-esteem was low, and she was walking dogs in her neighborhood to own money, which was a great profession, but not her passion. But she thought that's what she had to do locally because she didn't want to leave her kids anymore and travel. And when we asked her, what did she want to do? What was the passion? She wanted to open her own bridal shop, even after she just got divorced and, marriage wasn't such a great thing. But she said every girl deserves to have that special day. And she shared it with the group, but she said, "But I'm over 40. I don't have any money. The dream is past." And the women were like, "Oh, no, it hasn't. We know inventory. We know resources. We know ways that you can do this." And she literally sat up stronger in her chair and said that there was a woman that she walked dogs for who might give her some seed money if she got serious about it, but she needed a thing called a business plan, and she didn't know what that was or how to do it. And
Yeah.
somebody else in the room said, I can help you. I can help you write a business plan. And that was February of 2009. And February 2010, we were in I Do Bridal Shop, which is
Oh my God,
14
it's
years
amazing.
old now, and
Yeah.
one of the top bridal shops in New Jersey, award winning. And when I had an opportunity to say she could get this grant last year,
Yeah.
because it was for women-owned businesses who used this Clover system, and she could qualify. All you had to do is make less than $1 million a year. And she said she didn't qualify. And I go, what do you mean you don't qualify? She says, we make more than 2 million a year.
Oh my God, look at that.
And she would tell you, and she has told all of the women in Big so far that she's met, that if it wasn't for the support of that woman in that
Yeah.
room, she probably wouldn't be here. And that's the magic. The magic is bringing people together with a really aligned goals and values and ethics, who
Yeah.
want to really help each other, not just disguise that they want to get something for themselves and pretend they want to help you. They really want to help you. And that magic happens, and then everybody rises.
Absolutely. Okay, but so 2009, right? So you were sat at the living room with 40 women, but now you have 13,000.
We've had more than 13,000 women be members. So
Okay,
not all at
members.
one time do we have 13,000 members, but we have, well, active. People's lives changed over, people
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
moved, but we have had legitimately paying 13,000 members since 2009. We have about 300 and something right now. And we're launching. We did take a big hit like most groups in COVID, but we stayed
Oh, yeah.
alive.
Yes.
And we now are launching all over the place. We have new pods in all around up the East Coast. And today we just relaunched Big USA, which is a virtual pod for anyone in the country, anyone in the world. And that was a great experience.
Amazing. Amazing. But did you have that vision when you said, let's come and meet at my living room? You had that
I don't
vision?
know if I thought I had that vision, but you and I talk about this too. I had an instinct,
Gotcha.
right? And the audacity to name an organization Big and think
Yes.
small would not be right? But I mean, we actually named it Bernardsville, the town I lived in, Ideas Group the first time.
It's so funny. I
BIG.
didn't know that. Okay.
BIG. It was the town, and it was an idea, and it was a group, right?
Okay.
Let's bring the town with an idea and a group together. Bernardsville Ideas Group. So that was a small idea, right? Because it was just
Yeah.
my little town.
Yeah.
But very soon after that, a person in the town next to me said, well, I'd like to be part of it, but I don't live in your town. So does that mean I can't be part of it? And we're like, no, we'll change our whole name just to bring you in here. And we did. And we changed it to the name that it's supposed to be, which is believe
That's
in
fair.
yourself, get
Yeah.
inspired by others, and grow mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially. And that's
Absolutely.
how it started.
All
And I
right.
think when we got it to that point, we said, why couldn't this be everywhere? Why couldn't all the women that need something like this get this?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so we kind of thought, let's pretend that we have thousands of members. And how would we do this if we had thousands of members?
Wow. That's amazing. Amazing. Wow.
And
All right.
technology didn't exist a lot back then. There was no Facebook back then.
Oh,
Never
okay.
mind
So,
Zoom. There was no Facebook. We had to do everything on the phone or in person.
okay. Okay. So the
No
picture is,
Wi-Fi. I mean, that's the thing now. Like, technology makes it so much easier.
oh, yes, absolutely. So everything was mouse to mouse, right? So do you know someone? Come here. Like
Mhm.
this is,
It
and
still
the
kind
meet.
of is,
Yes,
right?
true.
Like, I mean, that's the best way to do it.
It's true. I got into big as well by mouse to mouse.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, that's good. Okay. And you had still your three children, right? So you were being a mom, you're
Yep.
growing this
I kept
community.
them.
You kept them. But the thing is, like, the dynamic of your life started to change, right? So,
Sure.
and being the leader of this group, and with that, how did you feel like growing into this role that it was not really planned, but it came up like as something that would fit to your purpose?
I I really liked it. Like it gave me purpose and passion, which was missing in my life, right? And I think that's when you do something that feels like, especially entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship gives you ownership of your own
Yeah.
business, which is part of you. Like there's no separation. It is like a parent relationship with your business. It is a baby. It's not a literal baby, but it's a baby. So it is an extension of you. And so when you are clear on what you want it to be, I think what happens is people go into it and react. Oh, I'll do this, I'll do that. Okay, I'll do this, I'll do that. And then it gets all blurry and you lose focus. And then you get yourself confused.
Yeah.
And then maybe you're not making the kind of money, or there's expenses, or there's things. And so many people give up then when all they have to do is find clarity and get
Yeah.
an idea over the finish line.
Oh my God, I love that so much. Woo! Look at here to all the badasses listening to this episode, right? So look at this nugget right now, right? So clarity to go to the
And
next step.
clarity can come from surrounding yourself with your friends or your colleagues and saying, does this idea make sense?
Yeah,
And they may not understand what you're trying to say. So it doesn't mean that the idea is wrong. It may mean that the way you're communicating about the idea is confusing. And that can be refined and changed.
absolutely. Oh, wow, I
So
like that perspective. That perspective is, yeah.
most ideas are good ideas.
It's true. It's true.
Listen, they bottle water, they sold pet rocks. How are those ideas good ideas? And the things that we come up with less than that? They're
Absolutely.
not.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I'm very curious. Like, so, you did this extraordinary thing, which is putting this amazing community together. Like, I came as a member, as a big already, so big. All right. So it's so good to see that transformation and this evolving. But, like more kind of like I'm curious to learn from you. So what the most badass thing that you've done recently? Like in done this past year or so? Can you walk us through the decision making process behind it as well?
Sure. I would say from in the business world,
Mm-hmm.
um, when I launched Big Queer,
Okay.
we started off with launching pods from towns. So it was by town, by
Mm-hmm.
geographic region. And
Mm-hmm.
then we said, well, what if we did it on concepts too, like voices heard? We started to um, bring women together, as you know, that made like different sectors of women, Black women, Latino women, Southeast Asian women, gay women, deep religious Jewish women who were experiencing what was going
Yeah.
on in Israel at the time. What if we talked about topics that were related to different sectors of women and they could share? Because, in the general population, these are going to be your customers or your clients. So the more
Yeah.
you know about them and how they live their lives, the better you can serve them, right? Whether
Absolutely.
it's a product or a service. So we thought it was good for the general population. And then what was happening with all the political negative energy that was going on around last year, certain groups, especially immigrants and the gay community, were very much in fear of losing a lot of their rights and their pieces. And taking the politics out of it, we're for women who have to retain their rights. We want
Absolutely.
women that want to live the life they are meant to live, the way they believe is the right way for them to live it. And we want them
Yeah.
to have the freedom and power and be empowered to live like that. So
Yeah.
we took on and offered Big Queer, which was a word that the two women who were lesbian women who were business partners chose to use that. And I was an awakening for me. That was like a word that it was not totally comfortable for me, right?
Oh, no, for
As
sure.
I wasn't that familiar to use it in everyday language. When we get into these places where people aren't familiar, we live in a little bit of fear that we're going to step in, difficult situation. We're going to say
Yes.
something bad. We're going to say something
Yeah,
insulting.
yeah.
But what we learned, and we've done a couple of them, and we're going to do more, was words matter. And how when you approach people out of curiosity and not judgment, you'll be received fine, even if you're saying something that is not necessarily affirming to them.
Okay.
But if
I
you're
love that.
not, if your heart isn't cruel and your mind isn't judging negatively, you're just trying to understand with an
Yeah.
open heart and an open mind. People of all different places are happy to teach you what their perspective is or share their perspective. And so it was a big divergence from our safe place where we, big
Mm.
Florida, big Connecticut, big New Jersey. But I really felt like maybe we helped people better by giving them that environment. There was a grandmother who came on who had a transgender grandchild
Okay.
and wanted to learn more about the lifestyle and understand this better so she could be a better grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And there were parents that had, children that were, and learning pronouns and learning the difference between sexuality and identity. Those are all things we should just be
Oh my
educated
God, that's
about.
amazing. That's amazing. That's
So,
amazing.
and I
And
think we got a little resistance. People were a little like, whoa,
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
but I don't care.
Yes. So, but tell like oh my, I know that, but then I think it was amazing. Like as an outsider, right? As a member, seeing the things happening. Um, but tell us like how did you decide to support, right? So even if you are with these, right, reluctant, you're not sure like how we're going to position this. This is so. What was the decision making process to yes, let's go. Like if you're
We
through.
we didn't take on it as we started a little small, right?
Okay. Okay.
We had this umbrella group, like I said, Voices Heard, and one of the sectors we brought in a number of gay women who were of different ages at different stages. There was a psychologist who identified as a they, them, and who educated us on what the pronouns mean and why people feel it's important to use them and what it means when they're received. I mean, all you want to do is be educated. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to agree or disagree. Just have insight. It
Yeah.
takes away all of the judgment because it gives people the right to live the life that they want to live. And if they're not doing anything to take away anybody else's rights or thoughts, why can't we just live out of love, right?
Yes, yes. I love that. So what I'm hearing is stick to your values, right?
Stick
So,
to
and
your
then,
values, but people think that's not their, some people will say that's not their value system, right? Some people say, well,
mm,
that's not my value system. I don't agree with that. Okay, you don't have to agree, but wouldn't you want to understand someone else's
mm,
perspective? At the end of that conversation, you may still say, I don't have the same value systems, but I do understand
yes,
something more
okay.
than I did before. There's nothing wrong with getting knowledge.
Absolutely. 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 I love that. And then it's
We're
like
not here,
starting
we're not here to
small.
convert anybody to anything. We're not here to make somebody believe something that
Yeah,
somebody
yeah,
else
yeah, yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
want to believe. We have all women of all ages, of all stages, of all ethnicities, of all education backgrounds. That's not our issue. Our issue, the only purpose we have is to take every woman and move them one step closer to the life that they want to live.
Yes. I love it. And you did that, right? Even you're like, I'm not sure about how this goes. This is what you did, right? So this is the way you act. It's
I
still
know
one
that we at
step.
least helped that grandmother.
Oh my
I
God.
know that we at least, because I got an email thanking me, and I at least helped her,
Yes. And
right?
that is what is the
And
purpose.
that
I
was
help
worth
one
it.
person. Oh my God. Oh, right. Thank you. Thank you. And this is so important because we always like sometimes overthink, like in terms of any type of decision that we are making, overthink. But if you just go to okay, just one step, one achievement, one person impacted, it makes it real. It
It's
makes
also
it.
like, yes, 100%. And you do not, that's what we know. we helped.
Yeah. Ah,
We
yes.
don't know
Okay.
what
Yeah,
we
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, understand. Understand.
I really,
Woohoo!
I would really, to your point, don't overthink it.
Yes.
Trust your instinct, trust your gut,
Yes.
take a step, make sure it's aligned with your values. The second I mean, this is Oprah says this all the time, right? The second your gut says, I don't know about this, the gut is right. The only time you
Yeah.
make bad decisions about yourself is when you listen to somebody else, even though you didn't really feel it was the right thing.
I agree. I agree. And then, yeah, I agree. And I have like this time and like availability, right? To have this awareness and trust in that instinct and that intuition is a great work to do. Yeah. Thank you. All right. So moving on. So I'm curious as well. Another thing, like, can you describe a moment in your life that you felt especially proud of yourself and your achievement? I know there's so many, but I'm curious to know what you're going to pick here.
Well, what I was going to pick is very personal. It has nothing to do with business, really.
Okay. All right.
Um, you mentioned I just became a grandmother of a most beautiful baby in the whole wide world. Emmett James is 3 months old, and I just got to spend a week with him and cried when I had to leave him.
Oh, wow.
But one of the most special, and it's funny because raising new people in this world as parents is an amazing feat, right? And sometimes we don't always get to pull it back and see how amazing it was that our children thrive. And
Mm,
when my oldest daughter got married, she planned the whole wedding. Like it was in a different state. So I got to almost be a guest. I mean, we paid for it. We had to write checks, but and at the wedding itself, I said to myself, take this in, take it in. It's this
yeah.
one of those once in
Okay.
a lifetime moments.
Yeah.
Watching someone who was professing their love for your child in
Uh-huh.
a way that makes you feel so comfortable that you can give them more room to be loved by someone, that not they're not taking your place, and they're not, you're not becoming less to them, but there's enough abundance of love that this
Yeah.
person is sitting there professing their love for your child. Was It was a euphoric experience.
Oh my God. So good. Oh. I could see the things you post and then you talk
And
about,
I felt, like, wow, I guess I was a okay mom because she's pretty awesome. I couldn't have screwed it up that bad.
So good. So good. So good. And congratulations, right? So it's a
Yeah.
big thing. Yes, absolutely.
But it goes to business in the way that you've got to let something go to grow,
Okay.
right?
Tell me
If
more
you
about
hold
that. I'm very curious because this is actually something that I am researching more about, like in terms of how to do that. So tell me more about that. You have to let
something go to
go
grow,
to
right?
grow.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so so for example, with Big in the pods, when I started it, it was my baby. I started it in my town. I was the leader of the group. I ran it. I knew how to do it. I attracted women. Everybody was happy. Everything was good. Someone said, "Can I do it in my town?" Not with me, to do the leader and be the leader and do what I do in my
Yeah.
town with my whole plan of how I did it. And I had to take a breath and think, but it wouldn't be me, but I wouldn't be in the center of the room and I wouldn't be showing them. The first time we did it at the town, the second leader of Big, I showed up a lot. I would sit in the room, they would look at me and I would give them some sort of suggestions. And then I thought, I'm not doing them a service by being there. This has to be their thing. They
Yes.
have to take this and make this their pod, their group. They have to take the guidance of what we do and the culture and the way we do it and embrace it and put their own spin on it and their own flavor on it
Yeah. Yeah.
so that they attract a group that's similar but different than who I would attract. And that's how I was able to grow Big. If I had to make myself the center leader of everything, we never
Yeah.
would have expanded. And it took, I don't know if in my 20s I would have the confidence to think I could let it go to grow. But I started this in my 40s, and I was like, I have to let people trust that they're
Yeah.
going to take this entity, honor it, keep the culture, and do what it's right by it. And I
Yeah.
had a couple checks and balances to make sure nobody was going rogue on it. But you know, when you go to different pod meetings, it feels like big.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And they
Absolutely.
honor it. And we've had over 100 pods over the years,
Oh,
and
wow. I
every
didn't know
single
that.
pod had that same feeling of big.
Wow. But that's a great insight, advice slash advice, because it's one of the things that um, I think women's struggle is like taking control, right? So, and let it go is not, is delegation, right? So the skill of delegation and even incorporate, and I'm telling you that because my
Corporate
background,
they suffocate you in corporate, right? They don't give you
exactly.
enough room to grow,
Yes.
right? That's what they
Yes.
micromanage you.
Yes, and that's one of the key things, for instance, for work-life balance. It's just like, that impacts not having it is because then it's they, is not mine, the work I'm doing, because it looks like it's always on check for someone else, not the things that I'm creating.
True. They have the pod leaders of big have ownership of their pod, right?
Yes,
That's why they keep doing it. And then they get
yes,
glorification from the women they serve, because to those women, this person is very special. And
yeah,
you give that gift. And I think the thing though, the word I would say that before you can do that, before you can feel good, create a culture, right?
okay,
Like
yeah,
in
yeah,
this
yeah,
organization, we stand for this, this, and this, right?
yes,
And so that when the next chapter or the next group or the next division or the next group of coaches under people, whatever that is, they adopt those values and those structures. And they say, at this organization, we stand for give before you get, right? We stand for lifting people up, not tearing them down. We stand for these things. And then if anything happens that takes away from those, they have to self-correct it and get it back to the value system. And that's how it can be repeated and brought to
yeah.
different regions with different people.
I love that. That's so important. Oh my God. Here to all the listeners to AnnaJoTalks, Work Life About Us. This is a great, great advice. And I think it's transversal. So for entrepreneurship to corporate, even like life with your kids and as a mom.
Oh,
And
yeah. I mean,
yes,
every woman in corporate America, if you're not building your team up, shame on you,
yeah,
because you don't have to step on people to get ahead. If you empower people, you rise so much farther, so much faster. I mean, I hate hearing the stories of women bosses belittling other women. Heard
oh
one
yeah,
today.
yeah,
It's against every ounce of our DNA being.
yeah. I agree. I fully agree. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for this insight. This is so valuable. Oh my
I didn't
God.
know I was
Look
going to
at
get on
this.
a soapbox and go
This
crazy,
is
but
like a lesson of leadership here. Woo! Tara Gilvar here in the house, a badass here, founder and CEO of Big Believe Inspire Grow. Okay. But we keep going because there's other questions of badasses that I would like to ask. And I know like, along this time, so you've been at first a career woman as a brand strategist and marketing and in these big companies. And then you a stay-at-home mom and then you become like this leader of this big organization, big believe inspire grow. And you were in New Jersey, then you moved to Florida. So I think you call change as a best friend, right? So you are not afraid, no, don't like, at least you embrace change. And I think this is one of another skills that is very important. And it's
I
one
will
skill.
say, to be honest, I accept change. I
Okay.
don't embrace it. Like I'm comfortable where I was before change happens, right?
Okay.
But I accept change. And I mean, a lot of things have happened, right? That you have control over and some things you don't. Like we just experienced two of the worst hurricanes in the history of Florida.
Oh, yes.
And we just moved here. And I thought, did I just make the worst decision of my life, right? To
Oh,
move
yeah.
here and be away from my family and things like that. But then you let time pass and you remember why you made these decisions, and you let things unveil and things heal and things, and you find, okay, yeah, I'm good. I'm good again. Right.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, you have to evolve.
Okay.
Staying in the same place is not a possibility, no matter what, even if you wanted to, unless
Mm-hmm.
you're going to like have one of those little general stores with dust 4 inches thick and still try to sell things from 50 years ago that nobody wants anymore. You've got to evolve. You have no choice. If you are
Yeah.
driven to want it to grow, right? And to, if you seek for something more. A lot
Yeah.
of people are very comfortable in their life exactly the way it is,
That's yes. Yes.
right?
And
And they're
that's
not
fine.
looking
Mm-hmm.
for it to be more, and they're not looking to make more money. And I don't ever make money for the sake of money. I make money to do something with it.
Yes.
But I mean, great for them, right? To go to a Pilates class in the morning and go to coffee and then come home and then, make dinner and read their stories or do what they want to do with their family. And that's their life, and they're good with that. And dinner on Friday nights out or something. I would be bored to tears.
I believe our listeners as a badasses would be more like that. But tell me, like, so in terms of, I'm very curious about like because I think we all fear change and if we are comfortable at change, but that aspect of improving, that aspect of wanting more, it's that desire is bigger than stay where you are, right? So
Right,
and
right. They say it's when the pain of staying where you are is more painful than making the change, you make the change.
exactly.
But I would say don't wait till it gets that painful, right? Like,
Okay.
don't overthink and then not move forward. I mean, what I have learned, and I never trusted this. Back in 2009, this would be considered woo-woo. Like all the things that we've become custom, yoga practices, meditation, breathing, all those healthy things that regular people do now. In 2009, it was like, oh, like California woo-woo or something, right? And now it's very commonplace. But what I used to do, which I don't do anymore, which has served me so well, is I
Mhm.
used to try to force things to happen. I used to say, for example, if I had a leader that was in Connecticut and they said, I had 15 members in Connecticut in this town, and the leader says, for whatever reason, she doesn't want to do this anymore. And there wasn't another person to take her place. I, from New Jersey, would Google, try to find a leader to take that person's place, to keep that group alive, to make that thing happen and keep it happening at the expense of the 25 other groups that I had. I would put so much energy to fixing
Mm.
this problem
Mhm, mhm.
instead of trying to say, okay, the universe has said,
Yeah.
or fate, or whatever, or that at this moment, this pod is not supposed to be. And what I'm really doing is leaving space to put my energy to go where I have things that are working, or wait. And then I get a magical phone call, which would be always happening about 2 weeks after I resigned to the fact that I have to give this pod up and all the members have to be refunded. And this whole thing was a fail.
Mhm.
2 weeks later, I get a phone call. Hi, I'm in this, New Jersey in this town, and I would have 400 women in my group, and I'd love to start a group. Would you be allowed to let me do that? Well, that is more magical than trying to force
Oh
something
my
in
God.
Connecticut, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And what I've learned is when what seemingly bad happens, it's meant for a reason. And the sooner I let that go, that whole thing of leaving space for the next opportunity is
Oh my God.
absolutely, literally true.
And this is again like let go to grow, right? You said that like already in the beginning.
Yeah, but I
Oh
mean,
my
like
God.
you live in that fear, like,
Amazing.
oh, what happens if I
Yes.
lose this? I lose this, or if you lose a client, right?
Yes.
Or you
Yes.
lose a member, or you lose something, and
Yes.
you panic. But if you trust that what you're offering has value,
Yes.
and you've been
Yes.
proven that it has value because people have paid you for it and been happy for it and love it, then you've got to
Yes.
believe that there's other
Yes.
people that will want it and maybe even pay more for it.
Absolutely. It's interesting because talking about change is the let it go, it comes again. So it's really
This is
kind
the
of
theme of today,
combined.
right?
It's really right. Because it comes back like, all right, I need to change how to do the step. I'm comfortable where am I? I understand that's kind of the next step. This is the next step I can take, even small, but let go to
Let go.
let to
Like
grow.
when you want to quit, when you
Yeah.
want to give up your business, when you look at your numbers and you say, it didn't make the
No.
money I thought,
Yes.
and I thought
Oh
I was
yeah.
going to do this, or somebody's saying, how much money did you make last year? All that stuff, right? When you want to quit, that's the time to get quiet and just let it rest. I mean, things have to happen, right? You can't just not serve the people that you take money from, but stop trying to force something to happen. Stop trying to, make something bigger. Just let it rest where it is
Mm-hmm.
and let yourself rest and let it just flow over you. And it will decide for you whether you are so passionate that you can't give this up, that you get totally rejuvenated and you're going back out there again to fight another day, or whether the time has come and you did a great job and maybe it is time to try something new. But don't react. Let it settle. Because I was
Wow.
going to shut this thing down 100 times.
Wow.
Bad
That's
days are
amazing.
just bad days, and sometimes they go a week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for
Entrepreneurship is
sharing. Woo.
not easy. It's not
Yeah.
easy.
No, no, I know that now. It's yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. I was yeah, true. But we are badasses here, so yes,
And there's enough
whatever.
people who will help you. Surround yourself. That's why this community is so important. Surround yourself. So now I don't fear, because if somebody says to me, I'm out, I don't want to do this anymore, I have 10 other women who say, I will do it for you.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So okay.
You thinking about
Um.
this for yourself, huh?
No, I was thinking, I was like, yeah, so that, yeah, that's the very truth. Like, and that's, I think I'm listening a lot on, perhaps I'm paying attention more. It's about the networking and how to be more intentional as well in terms of the people that you surround with. And it comes with these, it was also let it go, right? So, but also the people that you are there and not serving, and it's just like it's getting draining so much energy. How to let it go, right? So this also comes with the
You're putting
networking.
your
What you were
energy in the
saying,
wrong place, right? You're putting it
exactly.
in the wrong
So to be
place, and
more
then you don't have
fluid.
it for the positive side of the business.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And the other thing is that comparing, because I'm turning 1 year as being an entrepreneur, and it comes like the question I have the most, especially from my colleagues from corporate, is don't you feel alone? That's the
Oh,
first question. Actually, it's not how is your business in terms of numbers. Is actually don't you feel alone? Don't you miss be with teams? Because I'm this very high energy, and like I was, like with the team leaders, I was very energetic with them. And I was like, no, I have actually a good networking. I have other type of teams, surrounding like within my entrepreneurship journey. Yes, it's
and you
interesting.
feel alone in here, not out here, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's a U2 song that said alone in a crowd. I mean, you could
yeah,
be surrounded by people, nice
yeah,
people, and still feel lonely.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I don't feel lonely. And then the other thing you have to think about is, are you lonely because you're uncomfortable being alone with yourself? Right. And I
Yes,
think we all
yes,
have to get comfortable being alone by ourselves. It took me a long time. I always surrounded myself with people. And then if I was alone, I'd be like, oh, I need to call a friend, or I need to go out with a girlfriend, I never was very
yeah,
comfortable until the last couple years being alone with me.
yeah. And be okay with that and have like actually enjoy
Totally
it.
okay with
Oh,
it.
yes,
Totally okay with it.
yes,
Right.
yes.
Finding that peace within. It,
Yeah,
it brings your creativity to new levels.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, it's true. So, yes, absolutely. This is another nugget of advice from Tara Gilvar, right? So, surround yourself by the people who inspire you, right? I love
100%.
this.
Listen, if you're around people that make you feel worse walking in the door than out of the door, run, don't walk away from them. I have rid myself of a lot of people in my life in the last couple of years. I mean, consciously rid myself. Third grade friends,
Yeah.
that I had hanging around. And if I was, you get used to them, but at the one point you're like, every time I'm around them, I feel a little criticized. I feel a little like judged. I've known these people for 40 years. Why do I always have, I'm like, guess what? You don't have to be there.
Yeah.
And then you open up, and there's these lovely people that I meet at this stage in my life who wouldn't think to do anything other than build you up and tell you how wonderful you are and how great they are, happy they are to see you, and they're enchanted with whatever you have to say, and you're not feeling that little judgment like, oh, what'd you do with your hair? you know
Yes.
Oh,
Again,
have you
let
gained a few
go.
pounds?
Yes.
Like that's not what you need in this stage in
Yeah.
your
I
life.
love it. I love it. I love it. It's really the theme. Let go, really for the people as well,
This is
right?
the
So to
theme. Let go
let
to
go.
grow. Let
Love
go to
it.
grow. Subtract to add, right?
Yes. All right. So now to finish, I think, like regarding, I'm very curious and here to all our listeners from the work life for badasses would like to listen is from badass to badass. So what would be the advice that you would give for them to feel empowered and confident in their lives?
I mean, it really truly starts with your mindset. I mean, fake it till you make it to a degree until you believe it. But like you've only got and I've seen this in the pandemic, right? Women were empowered to quit their six-figure jobs, right, in the pandemic because they realized you have one life to live.
Yeah.
One. We've had members in Big who've died in the last couple years, younger than me. You don't know when that's going to happen. You don't
Yeah.
know how long you're going to be able to be healthy and do these things or, have these opportunities in front of you. I mean, just stop worrying about what everyone else thinks and really believe in yourself. Like, you are on this planet for a reason. You have talents and gifts that deserve to be shared with the world. It doesn't have to be fireworks and rocket ships. It could be something really, really specific and not huge, but you can make an impact on other people's lives. If you're doing something that can make a positive impact on other people's lives, keep doing that. And it doesn't matter whether you think it impacts enough people. The thing about social media, the thing about what we're talking about today is we have no idea how many people are going to watch this. We have no idea if somebody watches this on a day where they needed it more than they've ever needed it in their life and it
Yeah.
makes them do something. You don't know. It becomes not your choice, it's your obligation. You have an
Wow.
obligation
I
by
love.
by the gift of life that you serve your best self to the world.
Ooh, Tara, thank you so much. And with that, all the badasses listen to this episode. All right, so drop the mic. But not ending right now because I think we have um, fire so question to do. Are you okay to do it?
Okay, I'll try. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's go start it. So, what favorite superhero?
Wonder Woman.
Okay. Favorite place?
Italy.
Mhm. Favorite music?
Right now, I love, oh, I can't think, I like country music.
Okay.
All of a sudden, I like country. Oh, wait. Honestly, what am I thinking? My grandmother name is Tay Tay. I'm a Swiftie. I am a Swiftie. I went to the Eras tour. That's where I was a badass.
Oh my God, I love it. Favorite book?
Oh, I'm reading this book right now, which I'm really excited to read. It's called Between the World and Me, and it's a love story between a father and a son. And it's about a Black family's love story through the years. It's very powerful.
Okay. Favorite dessert?
Chocolate, anything chocolate.
Ooh, thank you so much, Tara.
That was our
And
easy questions.
but now tell us here and to these AnnaJoTalks Work Life for Badasses where we can find you and what's new in your world at Big that could be interesting to all our listeners.
Wow. Well, thank you for that. So believeinspiregrow.com is where our house lives, and you can explore us there, believeinspiregrow.com, and you'll find us on all the regular social media sites, right? Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. We are growing bigger. We've launched in Florida. We have a big group in North Carolina. We're up the East Coast. So we would love to continue growing. So if you feel called, we're going to Kentucky. And we launched a global US platform. We relaunched it, but now it's really amazing. Today, actually, a virtual USA pod. So that's for anyone where we don't physically have pods. And then the bigger news is for those who are really serious about business. We are business light and big, between life and business. We give you enough of an appetizer to, keep yourself moving forward and networking and getting to know people. But if you're really serious, like graduate school serious, like you want your master's in business kind of serious, we're launching BBU. Business Builders University. It starts in February. You can go on the website. There'll be a lot of information in the next 2 weeks about it. It's run by a woman who's bought and sold 10 businesses. She knows her stuff. She's scaled and marketed and sold 7 of those businesses in the big figure sales. It's bigger business than I could offer you. It's real hardcore. You get worksheets, you get accountability, you get assignments. And for those women who, really are looking to scale and grow and get 6-7 figures, this is the place. This is the place. And it's not anywhere near the kind of money you would spend in, private coaching or graduate school programming. It's in the hundreds. The total annual cost is in the hundreds.
Wow. All right. So, and all these information will be in the show notes.
It's all in the, so if you sign up for our newsletter when you go to the website, you'll get all this information, but it'll also always be on the website, believeinspiregrow.com.
And that will be on the show notes as well. Okay. Thank you so much, Tara. It was an honor to have you here at this podcast, at this episode. Thank you so much, and keep inspiring because it's always so good, so good.
I'm glad to spend this time with you. I haven't spent enough time with you. We have to get together. Oh, and we have a Spain retreat in which I hope I'm going to convince you to come with.
Yes, it's near Portugal, my home country. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you for tuning in to AnnaJoTalks Work Life for Badasses. I hope today's episode has inspired you to live life on your own terms. Until next time, remember, you are powerful, you are capable, and you can do hard things. See ya.
You've been listening to AnnaJoTalks, Work Life for Badasses, with your host, Coach AnnaJo. To learn more about Coach AnnaJo, her blogs, and her coaching programs on how to achieve the work-life harmony you deserve, head on over to AnnaJoTalks.com. Make sure to follow Coach AnnaJo at Coach AnnaJo on all social media platforms. And don't forget to subscribe and listen to all of the AnnaJoTalks episodes on Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. AnnaJoTalks, Work Life for Badasses was produced by Thrive Loud Productions. Thanks for listening.